going to speak for us it ended up having to step out. So Mike K, correct?
That's it.
Graciously said that he would step in and speak for us. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike.
Thank you.
My name's Michael. I'm an addict.
Mike.
Yep.
Oh,
And-
no added pressure with that.
Yeah. So it began. The way I was taught to do this is share your experience, strength, and hope. And I guess I could start just before the first time I drank. I always felt like I was a little bit off from other people. My father wasn't around very much. I didn't know much about him except for what other people said. And my mother, bless her, you know, she had her own substance use problems, and she did the best she could, but it took a lot of her time and a lot of her focus and a lot of her finances. So I always felt like I was a little bit disconnected. I knew that I was at some kind of disadvantage because I was always trying to fit in and kind of get in, and I never could really kind of hit the right motion. Took a long time to sort of settle in. It wasn't until I drank, I think I was like 14 when I actually drank to like socialize, and that was just so perfect for me at that time. It like took everything off the table. It allowed me to like connect with people, make jokes, and made it really super easy for me to not be me and be the person I wanted to be. You know, it didn't take off right away at that point, but I did learn that was something that I could use when I needed to. Started just doing the regular experimentation after that, and I just went to weed, and a lot of my drug use at that time and drinking at that time was really just, it was for fun. I would do it to socialize with females and connect with my friends and make jokes, and I did notice that it was increasing, but I didn't care either because I didn't have responsibilities, didn't have anything going on. I was just a high school kid. As things went, you know, I mean, stuff started costing money. I got turned on to some methamphetamines, you know, by family. And, you know, that's a good way to bond. And we, you know, drank Milwaukee's Ice and did meth all night. And to me, that was the new good time. Ended up, I guess I could say, fathering a daughter. That didn't last long. I didn't even get to really see her get born before her mother took off. And at that point, the fun really shifted for me. It was the combination of the onset of the methamphetamines and the super sadness of the fact that I was turning out just like my parents. And I kind of knew it, so it was really rough. Started using a lot more. The use cost me more, and it changed me. Changed my heart. Got really hard. Just didn't care about things. Didn't care about charges. Didn't care. I got caught probably about half the things I did. I got caught for, and didn't care because of juvenile. You just get arrested and released. Kept on going that way for quite a while. It wasn't too long before Multnomah County got fed up with me. And, well, a lot of the people that I was running around with in my age group, because they passed that Measure 11 law, and, you know, I was about 17, and I was looking at, like, 30 years. Give me just a ton of charges. And it was all, like, mandatory sentencing, so it was super spooky. That didn't stop me, though. Still kept rolling. Still kept going. Ended up doing, they gave me 50 months, so I did my first set at 19. They didn't catch me for a couple of years. I went to California. Didn't really care. It's just part of the deal. I kind of resigned myself to, like, this was kind of the cool way I could be. I knew I'd fucked up a lot of opportunities, so this was how I could be. And I went with it. Alcohol and drugs just sort of allowed me to live my life without having that sort of soulful consequence of my choices. I used drugs and alcohol to not feel what it was that I was doing. And I hurt people, started burglarizing. My crimes got more and more violent. The people that I was hanging around with, they required more of me. The game required more of me, I guess, so to speak, and so I had to do more. I did more. And I did more and I did more. And that went on for a long time, a few years. So far, like, you know, all the way into I was 25, 26, got a job doing some good work. Somebody gave me an opportunity, and I was really good at it. I'd like lay carpet, and I'd go into like Renaissance homes and just do like brand new work. And sometimes we do other people's homes. And one time we were doing this old lady's home, and I went back to her house later on that night, broke in, scared the shit out of her, took all her guns, you know, for no reason. Everything was going good. And that's what I did. To me, that was a good idea. I guess what I'm saying is, like, the drugs and alcohol helped me fuel this identity that I was trying to portray. And it just kept taken from me. All the while I thought it was providing me something, but in the end it wasn't. Soon after that, I got another charge. A couple more measures came at me. Had to go do another set in prison. At that time, like, I had a spiritual change. This is when I realized I really had a drug and alcohol problem, because I was like really convinced that I didn't need to do anything anymore. I was connected with my higher power and felt free. Even though I was doing a bit, I felt really free. And I got out, and I had this plan, like, of how not to do that again. And I was drinking by noon. I got out at 10 a.m. and I was drinking by noon, but I had spent the last year planning on how this wouldn't happen, and it still happened. And that's when I knew that I was screwed. That's what I felt. I felt like I was screwed. There wasn't going to be no helping me. So I just went with what I knew. Continued doing the same things. Started selling dope. Making sure people didn't rip me off. All that took up my whole day to make me feel cool. I would sell dope all day, and I felt cool. So that was like a good way to distract myself from the fact that, you know, I'm not living right, and that I felt like a real piece of crap for doing it. But something happened. I met somebody that I liked. She's over there. She's pretty cool. She hung out with me for a while, yeah. And then, so I started thinking, like, maybe I could try to do something else. She had some little girls, and I wasn't trying to, like, bring a bunch of dope around, because that's never gonna work out well. And so I went to work, and I, like, tried to do this, like, working guy thing again, and tried to, like, imagine what a man looked like doing provider type things, just making it up as I go. So I ain't never seen that before. And you know, for the first round I was doing pretty good, not too bad. You know, I'd only get drunk and loaded once or twice a week, and but I'd keep my job for, you know, 3 months, so that's pretty good. You know, did that for about a year or so, and then she got pregnant with my youngest daughter, Charisma, and still doing what I could and struggling to make it right. My last charge I got was in 2007 and 2006, and that summer right before Charisma was born. And then I got, like, some kind of blessing. My PO just, like, wrote some stuff off and, like, gave me, like, 10 days, even though I had just a tremendous amount of dope and a really bad story. And then the next thing I know, you know, it's my daughter's born. We had her in the house for, like, a month, and I'm still using, but I'm going through all this stuff, I make these rules up about how I'm supposed to use, and, like, how it's supposed to work, and, like, what I'm supposed to, and then systematically the disease and my just addict nature would just cancel those things out every time. And it was like November 1st, the cops came and they like, I'm gonna try and do this. This is a long time ago, but it's still really hard to talk about. The cops like came in and like threatened violence against me, took her to jail for my dope, and took her kids because of my dope, and then took my kid out of my hand, my baby. Really hard to talk about. And then I was there, I was like all by myself in this fucking crappy apartment, and everybody was gone. And I'm like, no, this is terrible. This is not the idea. And then like the next day, the power got turned off. And I was like, oh. I was like, the place was all dirty and just like, I was like alone and the power was off. And it was fucking way, way, way weak. Talk about like, oh, somebody made a joke a couple months later, oh, you're powerless. That's funny. Wasn't very funny at the time. I know. Wasn't very funny at the time. Yeah, right? So I ended up getting like all these resources that I had never been accustomed to. All of a sudden I had DHS people showing up, and they take my kid and then they give me help. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys? And then so I met somebody that's pretty cool that I still get to talk to today. He came to my door, and Angie got released, and the kids were still gone, and we were like super depressed. I remember we were like hella depressed, and we just fell asleep. We thought we went to sleep for 1 day, but apparently we slept for like 2.5 days. And I don't know if you like just been super, you just go and lay down, and then and this guy knocks on the door and he's like, I'm like, who's this? And I remember go walking out there, and I open the door, and I'm in my chonies, and I got like one sock on and my like wife beater shirt. I'm like, what do you want, dude? Like, what are you doing here? I don't know you, and you're way outside your realm. What are you doing? He's like, oh yeah, hey, you must be Mike. I'm Tony. I'm supposed to take you to court. Well, it's fucking Sunday, dude. Fuck out of here. What's your game? No, there's no court on Sunday. So no, brother. It's Monday morning, and we got like 15 minutes to get you there. So I don't know if you got some pants. I was like, wait a minute, hold the fucking on. And I was like, all right. And that was my first experience with somebody in recovery. Turns out that you can like heal. And that's when I started looking at maybe there was some other stuff that I could do that would like help me. The resources continued to come, and I just sort of shifted focus from like being helpless and being untrustworthy, or untrusting and untrustworthy, I guess, and kind of just played it out like if I did the best I could. This is what kind of got me through. If I did the best I could and it still didn't work, then fuck this world. And if that doesn't, then I'm blameless. I'm blameless in this. And as it turns out, if you do the best that you can, oftentimes things work out. But I didn't know that then. It was a real big leap. So I kept trying, and got plugged in with a lot of different places. Went to the mentor program at CCC. Randy Servisto was my mentor, and he says, go to meetings and do this thing. And I'm like, well, I went to one this morning, and it was pretty stupid, so I don't know if those are important. And he's like, well, all right. Well, this is all about suggestions, and sound like you really want to do anything different. And, I don't think you're motivated. He did this like pin thing on me that I won't explain, but it was pretty intense and kind of weird. Wanted me to push the pin across the floor with my nose. If I did that, that means I'm really motivated. I don't know how he got the words out to make me think about that, but it was a pretty cool deal though. So he started like modeling this thing, started walking this thing out with me. This is what it looks like to care for somebody without no reasons. Sent me to meetings, started listening to people, hearing people like talk about change. And I got to admit that like some of it like sounded like they were just going through the motions and trying to sound as good as they possibly could. And I thought, well, that's not even that bad. Like if this is what you do to kill your time and this is still a lot of bullshit, then you're not out there doing a lot of wrong and things are going in your favor. So maybe that's good. It wasn't until about, well, I got my green chip, and I'm like, that was when something kind of changed in my head. I was like, oh man, the first key tag I didn't give two shits about. I don't really care about it. But the green one, something was cool. I was like, man, maybe, I don't know. What do you think, self? Walking out to the bus stop. And then something really cool happened when I got the red one, when I got the 90 days. I was just like all in, man. It was just totally awesome. I just believed that life could be different. And I had seen enough and heard enough. And what they were saying was lining up with what I was hearing. And so I kept coming back. And I kept doing it. Kept looking for sponsors. I'm really not good with sponsorship. Like, it's not like I don't know how to be a sponsee like very well. The first like 5 I decided were just full of shit, or they thought I was. They like disconnected sooner than I did, so I don't know who's more wrong in those, but just didn't work out. But I still kept coming. I still kept listening. Shit, I just had work out of the green book. I knew that there was something here that I was looking for. I just didn't know. Like, it's like if you get a recipe, and it says you do these things and then you do this. I was like, well, we'll just, and I'd just do it the wrong way. I would never do it the right way. Yeah, it's kind of still the same, to be honest with y'all. Kind of still do it like in a broken method, but still here. So that was pretty cool. Like, I got about 9 months out of it. Started going to school, be a drug and alcohol counselor. Thought, man, I'm just gonna give back hope. I'm just gonna, like, what I was given, I'm gonna give back. I'm gonna do it in a real way, and I'm gonna do it in a scientific way. I'm gonna learn all these cool tricks and stuff. And I started working toward that. About 9 months. I got my yellow thing, and then I went and got, just not very drunk, just some drunk. Just not a lot, just a little. So don't be confused by that. And then it was okay because, and then, because I was over here and the kids were over there and we weren't never going to mess that up. And what I learned is there's this really cool or uncool, like, slow cycle of relapse that you start when when the literature says that many of us have been confused by that or been deceived by the fact that alcohol is not a drug. It's very, very true for me. And what I had was this like 2.5 year spiral back to a dope pipe that I wasn't really trying to see at all. And in that process, what I learned was the more I'm disconnected, the more I'm susceptible to life. And that's what happened. I mean, say these very horrific things didn't happen to me while I was disconnected, my misery would have continued at a rate that was acceptable to my alcoholism. That makes sense. Like, I probably would have continued in this cycle for quite a while, but we don't get to dictate what life has in store for us. And quite honestly, it always has something in store for us. It's my experience. And so that was a hard-won experience for me. I went about deceiving my family and trying to, I got a graveyard job delivering papers so that I could justify me being up for all days and nights and fucking whatever I wanted, like just no end. Just no end to the disparities that I'll come up with to just keep continuing to get loaded. It wasn't until I was getting loaded in my vehicle, and it wasn't the fact that I'd go out there and make up reasons to leave to go smoke and then come back in, and it wasn't none of that. It wasn't the fact that I would lay down and pretend to be asleep and think of how freaking ridiculous this is. It wasn't that. It wasn't that either. It wasn't the fact that, you know, like I would lie to people when they'd ask me like curious questions about what was going on with me. It wasn't that. It wasn't like Charlie Sheen was having this relapse right as I was having this relapse that was really paralleling what was going on with me. Like, I'm winning, dude. Everything's good. He's like having the same fucking thing going on TV. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like, it's like, don't worry, I got tiger's blood and I'm winning. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. It was like, you know, wasn't none of that. It was the fact that when I walked in my door, like, everything's okay. And my 6-year-old daughter at the time, my baby, was playing and having a good time. And I could see that she was enjoying herself. And I smiled, or I tried to smile inside my heart that was getting ripped apart by the drug. And she turned and looked at me like super confused. Like she'd seen who this person was. She knew my face, but was baffled by what she was seeing. And I was like, oh my God. Like, but poker face, you know, like don't like fall down right there because, you know, can't let everybody know all at once. But that really hurt my feelings. And then Angie caught me slipping one night, doing some one thing, and it was all about getting rid of the drugs. And that was it the 31st of March? Can't remember. Anyway, I had to dump my drug, man. And I had it in a safe too, so no one ever know, you know. Not that I'd get my safe 4 or 8 times a day, that's no big deal. But I had to go get rid of it. And that was almost 7 years ago. Funny thing about that drug, one of the last things it did to me, I dumped it out. And I had this like one really big shard, you know, like say that's the keeper.
That's the golden.
You already know, dude. It's so stupid. But like we're gonna smoke all around that first, but that one's last. And then I threw that thing into the toilet, and it like defied physics. Like it made no sense how many times that thing bounced around the toilet. What is it made of? Fucking silicone? And then my like something in my spirit jumped out and said, grab it. And then it landed into the toilet, and I was just, that was my last interaction with methamphetamines. Grab it out of the toilet. And I was like, oh yeah, we're all the way done now. And hit the flusher on that thing, went to sleep, woke up, April Fool's, time to get clean. It was 2011. It's been an interesting road since then too. We moved to Salem. I came out here so I didn't have to drive the same haunts, do all that stuff. Started working as a drug and alcohol counselor. Really striving to like put myself in a program and find a balance. And you want to know what my recovery looks like today is finding balance. I still haven't found the correct balance of personal recovery work and self-care, employment, and family. I'm always fucking overdoing one or underdoing another. And I'm not using. I'm not loaded. I'm not drunk. I'm not hiding. I'm not hiding from myself anymore. I'm trying to do responsible things with my life. I even hold myself accountable when I'm, you know, no one else really knows, or if they did know, then I don't need to tell them either. That kind of thing, you know. I don't need to see them. I still try to be real with myself. In order for me to get clean again, I had to come back to NA. And that's been an ongoing theme for me. When things aren't going well, I make sure that I find myself here. Because I know people here can understand. It's not just the drug use that's the issue. It's fucking Michael Kempf has got some shit that's not correct, and it doesn't line up right, and I don't get, you know, tremendous amounts of judgment, and people seem to genuinely care because they know that helps them too. My sponsors here, like, this guy has been, I don't even know how he does it. Like, I go AWOL. Like, when I go AWOL, dude, don't do a program like me, dude. Do what's best for you. Like, but I come back, you know, I come back and I go, wait, something's not right. I think I need to relook at some stuff. And once again, you know, I'm going to try and do a set of steps. And I'm feeling pretty good about that. The reasons why I'm doing the steps now are different than what they were in the beginning. But in the same time, I don't know if you understand, it's the same time they're the same. You know, they're the same too. You know, I feel really grateful to have somebody that would wait me out that way, you know, like on the real. Like, that's going on 6 years. You've been my sponsor. Mike's been my sponsor for, 6 years since I've been here. And, you know, we'll get there. So I guess, you know, in a nutshell, that's really where I'm at. I'm just trying to find my balance, trying to practice principles in my life that I would want my kids to practice, and I'm good with that. I'm a lot better than what I was. So thank you for letting me share my story. Hope you were able to get something out of it. And with that, I'll turn the meeting over to everybody else. Thank you.